I was brought up with lots of bad ideas about Jews, and I used to believe in all of these ideas. You know who is the mother organization of all radical Islam? The Muslim Brotherhood. UNRWA, it teaches kids not to hate Jews first and then to kill Jews. So radical Islam is so dangerous. I do know people who were killed in October 7 and they were very smolani, and Hamas has to be destroyed. My rituals as Muslims are only in Mecca and Medina. Al-Aqsa, they have another name for Al-Aqsa. You know what it is? Bayt al-Maqdis. You call it Hamikdash? No, it's Bayt al-Maqdis. And it's not Jewish. Habibi, you took my name. You know, like radical Islam and radical ideologies, they are so good in stealing identities. I get lots of threats. We are doing this fight and Hashem knows that we are doing it for good purpose. Do I have regrets for standing for peace between Muslims and Jews and Arabs and Israelis? Zero, efes regrets.
לואי א-שריף, בוקר טוב, good morning.
Morning.
יליד סעודיה, מישהו שגדל, מוסלמי כיום, גדל על ברכי האסלאם, שמעיד על עצמו שגדל בתרבות אנטישמית. שאלה שקודם כל חשוב שהצופים יכירו באיזה עולם גדלת. תספר לי על הבית שגדלת, על התרבות שבה גדלת, בהקשר של יחסי מוסלמים יהודים.
So I was born and raised in a very traditional family. The school at that time, it was like lots of things negative about Jews and Christians and others as well. Now I have to say that things in Saudi, or education in Saudi and in the Gulf states, or most of the Arab states as well, is very progressive, is doing much better than it was in late 90s. So this is something that has to be credited. So I was a very different person from what I am right now. I was brought up with lots of bad ideas about Jews until I traveled to France 2010 and lived with a Jewish family by coincidence, and lots of things changed. That was 15 years ago. So when you live with many people who hate Jews still in the Arab world, they hate Jews because they haven't met a Jew in their life, or they don't have friends that are Jewish. So
yes, of course. אתה זוכר אבל חוויה כילד מהשנאה הזאת כלפי יהודים? יש לך איזה זיכרון ילדות כזה?
So I remember when I was a child, my family was not anti-Jewish, but I do remember in school we were taught so many bad ideas about Jews, honestly. That Jews are the enemies of Islam, Jews are the enemies of Muslims, Jews and Muslims can never be friends, Israel is a cancer in the Middle East. And I used to believe in all of these ideas until I went to France. Many of my ideas about Jews changed, but my ideas about Israel, that it's apartheid, it's against Muslims, it's a very criminal state, remained until 2016. But 2016, I got to know many Israelis, Arab Israelis, who told me different things about Israel, who told me that there are Muslims in Israel, there are mosques in Israel, there are not the things that you know. I blame Al Jazeera and so many media channels that are very anti-Semitic for the reason why many people in the Arab world are radicalized. This is the truth that no one wants to talk about.
אתה זוכר את האירוע המכונן המשמעותי שבו הדעה שלך השתנתה בין הבית שגדלת בו לפתאום ההבנה על מי הם באמת היהודים ומדינת ישראל? יש איזה רגע כזה שאתה זוכר שפתאום הכל השתנה?
So that moment was בצרפת. In Paris, when I started to have a dialogue with the family, and then I started to learn from the source. You started to learn Judaism from the source. And I do remember we had lots of questions going back and forth about Jews in the Quran, Jews in the Arab world, Jews in Israel. So that was the pivotal moment in France.
ואתה בקשר מאז עם אותה משפחה?
I'm still in touch with the family. Unfortunately, the family left France and they are living now in Israel. They left France because of anti-Shemiyut in 2018. But of course I'm in touch with them. But they are so social media shy. But of course I'm in good touch with them. They are amazing people. And this is why the French Jews are so special to my heart.
אתה כיום מוסלמי, זה לא שהתגיירת, הפכת להיות יהודי, אתה חי חיי אסלאם, אתה מאמין באסלאם.
אני מאמין באסלאם, אני מאמין באסלאם ואני מאמין בשלום בין מוסלמים ויהודים.
מצוין, טוב שאתה אומר את זה, כי זאת בדיוק השאלה. כשאני ראיינתי מוסלמים שהתגיירו, מוסלמים שהפכו להיות יהודים, הם אמרו לי, אתה לא מכיר את האסלאם. האסלאם לא מסכים עם קיומכם כאן. האסלאם לא מוכן שיהיו יהודים באדמה כבושה.
אני לא מסכים איתך בגלל, there are two Islams. There is spiritual Islam. You pray, you fast, you be a good person. And there is radical Islam. Those people who leave Islam and convert to other faiths, in my opinion, they hate radical Islam, which I hate as well.
אז איפה הם?
Yes.
למה הם לא יוצאים נגד הרדיקל?
But I'll tell you, yes, they hate radical Islam, but they think that the only way is to leave Islam in full. I disagree with that. I don't believe that we should leave Islam in full. I believe Islam has so many beautiful things, but there is radical Islam that we should stand against. Radical Islam that tells you should hate you should hate Jews, you should hate Christians, you should hate. And I used to believe in that when I was a kid. I used to hate a lot. But spiritual Islam is a very beautiful religion, and so many good things and so many shared values between Islam and Judaism. We can build on that. So those who hate radical Islam should, as you said, should stand against radical Islam rather than just leave the faith. But I'll be very honest, I respect everyone's decision who wants to leave Islam, who wants to convert, who wants to convert to other faiths, who wants to convert to Islam. I respect all faiths, but I'm just saying that we are 1.8 billion Muslims. The solution is not to tell the Muslims who are young and who are radicalized, you should leave Islam entirely. No, we should do reform in Islam.
איך זה קורה אבל? הרי קח את הרדיקל יהודים. הם לא עושים פיגועים כמו like 9/11. הרדיקל יהודים, כך רדיקל נוצרים. הם לא עושים פיגועים, הם לא שוחטים ילדים. איך זה קורה שבדת כמו אסלאם יש רדיקליות כזאת שעושה את הטבח של ה7 באוקטובר?
Yes, I know. So there are radical Jews, radical Christians, radical Buddhists, but they don't make, as you say, you don't make lots of noise when it comes to explosions and everything like that. Yeah. So radical Islam is very problematic because it believes in...
It's the majority? It's the most of the Islam?
No, not more. I would not say most of Islam, but I would say a very loud voice in Islam. Don't forget, what is the biggest Muslim country in the world? Indonesia. Indonesia, Islam came to Indonesia not by sword, not by conquests, not by armies, by trade.
הם גם הסכימו לקבל את העזתים אליהם.
Yes, simple Islam is very simple. People can accept it, but violent Islam or militant Islam is so dangerous. Not dangerous to Jews and Christians only, dangerous also to Muslims who don't agree with it. So this is why I believe the religious leaders of Islam, they need to sit on a table and say, we have a problem, we need to solve it. We need to fight against radical Islam.
והם לא עושים את זה.
No, they're not doing that.
כי נוצר מצב שגם בעיני העולם וגם בעינינו, בעיני רוב היהודים, זה פני האסלאם. הוא שוחט ילדים, הוא רוצח, הוא אונס, הוא עושה פיגועים, כי אנחנו לא שומעים את האסלאם המתון, כמו שאתה אומר. וכשאני נפגש עם מוסלמים, הם אומרים לי, בפרצוף, אנחנו לא נירגע עד שאתם לא תהיו פה, כי אתם יושבים על אדמה כבושה. וכשיהודי שומע את זה, אז הוא אומר, אוקיי, לא הולך להיות שלום אף פעם.
But this is why we need to have more and more people to people. This is why when so many of my Israeli friends come to the UAE, to Abu Dhabi, to Dubai, and they tell me, this is not the Islam that I know. Islam in UAE is very peaceful, is very tolerant, is very calm.
Voila.
Yeah, and I remember one of my friends, he came to Sheikh Zayed Mosque in Abu Dhabi, and he said, Lואי, I'll be very honest with you, I hate mosques. אני נגד את המסגד. בגלל כל מה אני יודע על מסגדים is hate.
הטפה.
Yes. So when I see Sheikh Zayed Mosque, and when I see how beautiful it is, I say there are Muslims we don't see. So this is why we need the Abraham Accords, to have more people-to-people relations, to get more people to see each other, to live with each other, to experience.
אז אם אני שם אותך בנעליים שלי, כי כנראה, בוא נגיד ואני זורם איתך מה שנקרא, I believe you, אוקיי? ונוצר מצב שהאסלאם הקיצוני הוא כאן, in the Middle East, במזרח התיכון, אם זה חמאס, אם זה ג'יהאד, אם זה פתח אפילו, אוקיי? זה לא האסלאם המתון כנראה. עובדה, ראינו מה הם עשו. מה אתה היית עושה במקומנו? איך אנחנו צריכים לדעתך להתמודד עם האסלאם הרדיקלי הזה בעזה, בגדה, ביהודה ושומרון, בלבנון, בסוריה? מה אנחנו צריכים? אנחנו רוצים חיים טובים, שקט, שלום.
So this radical Islam, as you said, it's not only a danger to the Jews in Israel, but it's also a danger to the Arab states and to Arabs who are living in the Middle East. There are two solutions. There is the security solution and there is the theological solution. The theological, as I told you, the scholars of Islam need to understand that there is a problem. Radical Islam is making a big problem, not only in the Middle East, but also in Europe and in America. Many people are complaining that Muslim immigrants are not going to Europe or America to assimilate. They want to dominate and they want to take over societies. So Muslim scholars have to deal with that. But in my opinion, to defeat radical Islam, you need to have more peace in the region. You need to encourage more peace agreements. You need to have more modernity. You need to have more, I don't want to say secular society, because I'm not a very secular person, but I would say societies that are detached from the radical views of any faith, especially of Islam, because radical Islam is so dangerous. And I want to tell you one thing. Radical Islam, you know who is the mother organization of all radical Islam? The Muslim Brotherhood. And the Muslim Brotherhood, unfortunately, they are banned in the UAE, in Saudi Arabia, in many modern Arab states, and they are welcomed in Europe, in America, in Canada, in Australia. And it's so disappointing that people do not really see the danger of this organization.
In Hebrew, we say, let's talk dugri. Do you know what this means? Let's talk dugri?
Let's jump to the point.
Yes. אז בתכלס, דוגרי, מה ישראל צריכה לעשות עם עזה? כי עזבנו את עזה, נתנו להם לחיות שם, חשבנו שאתם תחיו שם, אנחנו נחיה כאן. אפילו הקיבוצים, do you know? זה קיבוצים, הם הכי האמינו בשלום. והם אלה שנשחטו, תינוקות, נשים, ילדים.
אני יודע.
זאת אומרת, מה אנחנו כמדינה שרוצה לחיות, צריכה לעשות מחר בבוקר עם עזה?
Okay, so in my opinion, I would tell you honestly, I do know people who were killed in October 7 and they were very Smolani, like left Israelis who came to me on social media. They say, oh, Lואי, I have Palestinian friends and they were killed at the end of the day by the Gazans. So what Israel should do, first of all, listen, there is no right or wrong in this matter. So the hostages' families want their hostages back. And Israel doesn't want to be blackmailed by Hamas to get the hostages back. And it wants to destroy Hamas. And I understand that, of course. And Hamas has to be destroyed. Hamas on October 7, they killed children, women, and elderly. There is no dictionary in the world that defines resistance in kidnapping toddlers like Ariel and Kfir Bibas. This is not resistance. And by the way, this is not spiritual Islam. Spiritual Islam will never tell you to kidnap kids. Radical Islam might tell you so. I don't know. But the radical Islam, they say, yeah, we have these, this is allowed in our religion, in their religion, not my religion, not my Islam, not the Islam that I know. But in
ורוב האסלאם ככה?
Islam שלי, spiritual Islam doesn't allow, even in war, you should not target women and children. But radical Islam, Hamas and Islamic Jihad and everything is allowed. You should kill Jews, women, children, pregnant, anything.
לכן אתה אומר, בוא אנחנו צריכים להילחם.
And radical Islam, if you and I were in the battle and Hamas wants to kill one of us first, they will kill me first, by the way, and then they will kill you. So radical Islam is so dangerous. So what Israel should do, of course, to get the hostages back, but I'm not in a position to tell the Israeli government what to do. But I'm just saying my opinion. And also the Palestinians have to have a leadership if they really want to have permanent peace.
If they really want.
Yeah, if they really want. They have to have a leadership that would say, we are a new leadership in the Palestinian territories. We believe in peace. We believe in prosperity. We believe in recognizing the Jewish state. We will live side by side with Israel. We will stop teaching our kids to hate Jews. Because I read UNRWA curricula. It's disastrous. UNRWA, it teaches kids not to hate Jews first and then to kill Jews.
למלחמה הזאת, הם בחרו לקרוא לה על הסרטים תופן אל-אקצא. ממתי התחיל הקשר של חמאס, של בכלל העולם האסלאמי, לאל-אקצא? זה לא מקה, מדינה, ככה אני למדתי. אני טועה?
Sure. Al-Aqsa is actually a very, it's a sacred place in Islam, but it's not as Mecca and Medina. In my opinion, in my belief, my rituals as Muslims are only in Mecca and Medina.
Only?
I did Hajj, I did Umrah, I did everything. Al-Aqsa is a very symbolic, sacred place, but it's not as Mecca and Medina.
אז למה הם הפכו את אל-אקצא לסיפור עד כדי כך שזה כבר נראה important than Mecca and Medina?
Of course, this is what Hamas's idea is, and this is what the radical Islam idea is, to make Al-Aqsa equal to Mecca and Medina, which is not true. And by the way, I want to say one thing. Tufan al-Aqsa, Hamas are called Tufan al-Aqsa. It's very ironic that that Hamas and radical Islam, they say we have to protect Al-Aqsa. They have another name for Al-Aqsa. You know what it is? Bayt al-Maqdis. And you know what Bayt al-Maqdis comes from?
והמקדש.
The Jewish temple. So radical Islam, because it's so ignorant, because radical Islam and radical Islamists are so ignorant, they repeat the word Bayt al-Maqdis, and they think that it's a mosque. Bayt al-Maqdis is the temple. It's Beit HaMikdash.
המקום הקדוש של העם היהודי.
Exactly.
Important.
Exactly. And this is like the Jewish temple. If they were, honestly, you know what? I blame who? I blame Moshe Dayan. Moshe Dayan, when he took the power, he said, no, I don't want to make it the Vatican.
Take the key.
Take the key. This is a problem. So if you have leaders in Israel and you have Muslim leaders who say, let's say, for example, sane leaders would say, you know what, this is a very sacred place for both of our people. Let's share it. Let's make a very nice collaboration or sharing. But unfortunately, radical Islam doesn't believe in sharing. It believes in, I want to take it. I want to take it and I want to steal the name. I want to use, you call it Beit HaMikdash? No, it's Beit al-Maqdis. And it's not Jewish. Habibi, you took my name. You know, like radical Islam and radical ideologies, they are so good in stealing identities.
תגיד, אתה חושש לחיים שלך?
I get lots of threats online, Baruch Hashem, only online.
Baruch Hashem.
Only online. But I want to tell you one thing. I stood for a mission for peace. I'm not against the Palestinian people. I'm not against any people. I'm not against any faith. I'm not against any religion. I'm against the radicals. You know why? Because I was one day on the other side and I saw it and I said, thank you so much, goodbye. I'm not going to come back again. When you defeat radical ideas with knowledge, with facts, with the truth, you say to yourself, it is worth it. It is worth the fight. And my favorite hero of peace was killed because of peace. My favorite hero of peace is Anwar Sadat, Egyptian president. He was a true hero of peace and he paid his life for it. And I know that one day I will die. All of us will die one day. But do I have regrets for standing for peace between Muslims and Jews and Arabs and Israelis? Zero. Efes regrets.
אתה מאמין הרי הסכמנו שאנחנו חיים פה בלב רדיקליים. אנחנו פחות פוגשים פה את המתונים יותר. אז אתה מאמין שיבוא יום ויהיה פה באמת באמת שלום?
אני מאמין שהחלום הזה יתגשם בקרוב בעזרת השם.
אינשאללה.
אינשאללה, אינשאללה. בפשרך לאלוהים, אינשאללה. But we need to have more work. This is why we need to...
More work. And לדעתי, גם מלחמה הרבה יותר חזקה נגד הרדיקלים.
נגד הרדיקלים, נגד רדיקל אסלאם, נגד Muslim Brotherhood. Not only war in the battlefield, but also theological wars on campuses, U.S. campuses. I was making lots of tours, speaking tours with many of my fellow Arab peace activists in America. So many campuses are radicalized. Columbia, Rhode Island University, in Providence, so many. So we need to do the good fight. But I want you to understand, we are doing this fight and Hashem knows that we are doing it for good purpose. We want to bring the children of Abraham together.
ולכן המטרה הטובה תנצח.
But Hamas and radical Islam, they don't want to, they want to fight not to bring peace, to annihilate Israel, to annihilate Jews. They believe that day of judgment will not come until Jews and Muslims fight. And they believe in an apocalypse where millions are on both sides. This is the mission of radical Islam and Hamas. Our mission is to fight the good fight, to bring more people to peace.